Glad to see you all again. Glad to see everyone, including the online congregation, and we are live. Thank you for joining us in this spirit of perfect harmony. We are the Center for Spiritual Living West Georgia. We study and practice the philosophy and the science of the mind we know as God. And with our spiritual presence and participation in our service here this morning, we create a higher state of consciousness, rise above all the negative energy we may have experienced this past week, and manifest love. We know love is synonymous to God. Our master teacher, Reverend Dr. Sandra Jackson, will proceed with our service at this time. Reverend?
Good morning. Yes. Whoa, what a difference. Marsha's going. Oh, good morning. Welcome, welcome, welcome. It's so good to see you out there and in here and over there and right here. And today we have Sherry to do live music. And yes, and Mike is in the house today. Sometimes he's on the online. And in case you don't know it, there's Ken and Marcia and Dorothea over there on sound. And they're the ones who keep things going so that you guys out there can have all the possibility of having a great service along with the rest of us. And so let's just acknowledge them, okay? Yes. Okay, welcome again. And let us just join together in consciousness and in the greater awareness of the greatness that is. That absolute isness that is the source of all that we are. It is the perfect, whole, absolute perfection of life itself, the creative mind that is within, through, and as each and every one of us, that we join together right here and right now, releasing and letting go of our individual thoughts, feelings, and ideas, and allowing ourselves to be at one with the consciousness, the wholeness, and the life that is God itself. And so with every breath we take, we know that we are uniting one to the other. We are uniting in the one, for we are the one. And so regardless of where we are, what expressions of life that we take, this one expresses in, through, and as each and every one of us. And so we are knowing in this very moment that we are blessed, that we are fully, completely, absolutely blessed in this moment, because the perfection of God itself is who and what we are. And so we are just simply acknowledging that today. We are knowing it, believing it, accepting it, and allowing it to be the truth of our lives as we come together as community in joy and in love, celebrating, worshiping, and being one together. And so it is. Amen. So it is. In your program, we have our vision and mission statement. If you'd like to stand. CSL West Georgia is a joyful global community where everyone belongs. Through our unique spiritual teachings, we provide a safe environment to experience compassionate living. And our principles: I believe that the universal spirit, which is God, operates through a universal mind, which is the law of God, and that we are surrounded by this creative mind, which receives the direct impress of our thought and acts upon it. I believe that God is personal to all who feel this indwelling presence. And we're singing, It's a Wonderful World.
Everybody sing along with us this morning. It's a beautiful spring morning. It's a beautiful world. I see trees of green, red roses too. I see them blue for me and for you. And I think to myself, what a wonderful world. I see skies of blue, clouds of white, bright blessed day, dark sacred night. I think to myself, what a wonderful world. Sounding good out there. The colors of the rainbow seem pretty in the sky. Also the faces of the people going by. I see friends shaking hands, saying, how do you do? They're really saying, I love you. I watch them grow. They'll learn much more than I ever know. I think to myself, what a wonderful world. Yes, I think to myself, what a wonderful world. Beautiful. Oh yeah. Reading.
Good morning, West Georgia, CSL West Georgia. Today's reading is from Marcia Saintar's Don't Worry, Make Money. As Marcia Saintar's incredible bestseller reminds us, do what you love, the money will follow. Perhaps the reason this book is so popular is that it reminds us of something we intuitively already know. When we are passionate about what we do, success will follow. Passion for life, passion for work, it is a critical element of success and abundance. Passion is virtually unstoppable, attitudinal. It's an attitudinal force that generates energy, creativity, and productivity. When you love what you do, it's not difficult at all. Your enthusiasm is obvious to everyone around you, and it then becomes contagious. Part of the process of creating passion in your work is choosing work that you truly, truly love. Doing so requires conscious choice, which often takes a great deal of courage. It can be frightening to make a change in your career direction or something new, irrespective of how much we may want to do. After all, most of us were indoctrined, I'm going to say that word again, indoctrined into believing that walking a certain safe path was the way to achieve security. Fear is a powerful, highly destructive force that prevents many of us from pursuing our dreams. However, if you take a careful look at most successful people, more often than not, they have felt the same similar fears. A client of mine once said, I finally asked myself the question, whose life is this anyway? And when I couldn't answer the question, I knew I had to make a change. I have a story of my own that reinforces this strategy. Many years ago, I was taking the safe route. Shortly after college, I began to work on my MBA. The problem was I couldn't stand it. I dreaded every class, and I knew this wasn't my career path. Following my own dreams, although it was extremely frightening to me, I decided to once again follow my own dreams, walk to never return in the same direction. I was determined. It was one of the best, most important decisions of my life. It is important to ask yourself, how safe is it really spending your time doing something you don't enjoy? How well can you perform a task you dread? How many times have I said that? I can tell you that. Without passion, your odds of success are minimal. You will either struggle in your career or burn out completely. But the opposite is just as true when passion for your work fills your heart. When you follow your heart, when you discover what is truly, truly nourishing to your soul, an abundant, joyful life is just around the corner. Thank you.
Hi. Hello. My name is Sherry Henley. I'm happy to be with y'all today. Whoop, wait, hold, stop. I'd like to do a song about the power of love. It was written by Cynthia. I had the great pleasure of being involved in the production of the music for her first album, and she has tried to drag me out of retirement for all these years. I'm a little dusty. She did drag me out though. And I'm so pleased to sing for y'all live. And when I was doing the online stuff, you guys are just fantastic. You fill my heart with love, and I'm so happy to be here and doing what I love. And just remember, fear stands for false emotions appearing real. Nothing to be afraid of. I lived in fear for a long time. And anyway, the power of love, my friend's love brought me back out. This is a song Cynthia wrote. Inside your heart there is a power. It's the strongest force on earth. When soul and spirit come together, a powerful love is given birth. As we turn from our small story to find the majesty of you, and join our hearts to higher powers to begin the great work we're here to do. Your love shines, and in the darkest corners of the earth, darkness is brighter, sad hearts are lighter, and new hope is given birth. And as you dream, the angels join in, and with this love, a new world can begin. My heart has always known the power of your love. And now I see you, oh, the power of your love. The passion of your heart's a garden, with joy and sorrow how it grows. See compassion, how it blooms there, and fountains of forgiveness flow. The world will be a better place for us as we pray and meditate. A love more powerful than hate is born in a safer world that we create. Your love shines, and in the darkest moments of the night, a hopeless one remembers touch can be tender, and hope comes with the light. And as you dream, the grieving dry their tears, and in your arms the dying lose their fears. My heart has always known the power of your love. It's time for you to own the power of your love. It's a gathering of angels as we stand hand in hand. How we come to heal the future of a troubled land. And your love shines, and in the violent corners of the earth, you know the warring enemies touch their humanity, and the great peace is given birth. It's our great work, but the headline news won't read how we heal the world in need, or the hungry souls we feed. Oh, but in our hearts we know the power of our love. And it's time for you to own the power of your love. Yes, it's time that we all know the power of our love. And it's time for you to own the power of your love. Thank you.
I have to, both of you, Cynthia and Sherry. Well, so, you know, the thing about having a resident music writer, songwriter, is that we have original music. It's ours. That is so awesome. Yes. I mean, geez. And Marcia, thanks for having the words up there. That is just made it really nice too, because then we could add to it. We could sing along when we wanted to. Thank you. Yeah, where do we go from here, there, everywhere? Yes. So today we are talking about boldly go. Boldly go. So I want you all to recognize we all have history. We all have history. And the history is our conditions that we look, when we look back, we go, well, I've done this, and I've been here, and I've done that, and this has happened to me, and I've overcome this, and I struggled through that. All history, all conditions, things that have happened to us in our world. And if you wrote your autobiography, what would you say? Would it be a few lines or would it be a whole book? Would it be a book of joy and love and peace and happiness? Or would it be a book of pain and struggle? Would it be a book about how you've overcome or how you are still working through? Because that, you're still here. Whatever it is, I don't care what has happened in your life, you are here today, and guess what? You're a survivor. You have lived through it, whatever the conditions, no matter how joyful and happy and good they were, or how difficult and painful and sad and whatever else, you have survived. You showed up today, and today can be a beginning. It's a new autobiography that you begin today. The conditions in your life are just the past. They don't have to stay the conditions in your life. What you had yesterday does not have to be today. Just look at the program that you have. April. Living everyday wonder, creativity. You know what creativity is? It's doing something new. It's creating. It's something that we get to do all the time. So we have survived childhood. Sometimes it was really hard to do. Sometimes we had people around us that said, you know what? I'm not so sure we're going to let you make it. Okay? Right now, we have children around the world who are struggling to make it through childhood. We laugh because we made it through childhood, and we laugh because we know the struggle that it took. But we have children right now who are homeless, who are going to bed at night without having dinner. We're dealing with children who are being traumatized on a daily basis. We have children who are not being well educated. We have children who are having all kinds of difficulties and problems, and these are the conditions that they are growing up with. And at the same time, most of them will survive. But the question is, how will they survive? How did you survive? What did you have to do in order to become the person that you are today? We look at people who are famous, and write books and do all kinds of stuff, and we think, their life was easy. Look at what they're doing. Wayne Dwyer is one most of us know. You all know who Wayne Dwyer is, right? I saw him back in the 80s when he was kind of just getting started. I remember reading Erroneous Zones, and I was like, well, this is an interesting book. And I don't know if he's still doing, because it's been a while since, he passed away a few years ago, but it had been a long time since I had seen him in person. But he used to tell the story of him growing up. His father was an alcoholic, left his mother with 3 children, and he grew up in foster homes and orphanages until he was 10 years old. That's quite a life to start, And yet, at the same time, he overcame all of that to become the author that he was, not only author, but the best-selling author. He's got a whole bunch of books. And it took him a while. He did a lot of psychology. He got himself to college. Did a lot of psychology. But then he learned to meditate. And he started being involved with New Thought organizations. In fact, I saw him at a New Thought event. And so once he started doing that and learning some of the things that we teach, he started incorporating them into his books and making them available to the wider world. So he's known as a motivator instead of a minister. But I tell you, he was ministering to people. And then we all know Shonda Rhimes, right, from Grey's Anatomy. It's getting ready to have its 19th season. Can you imagine? 19 seasons. It's like it's amazing that you can come up with so many stories. And then people dying and coming back, it just cracks me up when it's like we have these people and they've left the show, right? And yet they come back, that doctor that left the original one, I can't remember his name. But he comes back all the time, in her memories. It's like, that's great. Don't you wish that happened in real life? But you know, the thing is she grew up very differently from Wayne Dwyer. She grew up in a family with both mother and father who were educators, and they made sure that she got an education. And you know, she was the youngest of several children, and yet at the same time, she used to say no all the time. Her answer to everything was no, apparently, because her sister at one point challenged her, and he said, "You know, you say no all the time. I challenge you to stop saying that." And so she decided, guess what? She was going to have a year of saying yes. Can you imagine? We had a talk on that not too long ago about saying yes, right? The Spirit always says yes. And so she went a whole year saying yes. And one of the things she said yes to was Jimmy Kimmel Live. But guess what? She did not want to be live. So she said yes, but on her terms. So you see, the thing is you can say yes, but you know, we assume that she said yes to things that she didn't want to do. If it was something that she wanted to do, but it wasn't the way she wanted to do it, she just changed the conditions so that it matched it and allowed her to then say yes. So what do you need to say yes to that you're saying no to? Think about it. You know, we've been reading this book by Edwin. I forgot to bring it over here. This, The Four Spiritual Laws of Prosperity. And in it, Edwin goes through the woman has so many stories. I swear, it's like she has this whole life full of story after story after story, and she gives illustrations of the conditions that she was dealing with and how she dealt with them and the result that she got as a result of dealing with those conditions and the things that she did. And so throughout her book, she's dealing with difficult conditions, and then she tells you how she overcame them. Rhonda Burns, when we read her book last month, well, not last month, it was in February, when we read the magic book, okay, what did she start? Rhonda Burns, let's see, she wrote The Secret, right? And then they made a movie out of The Secret. You would think, the woman has lots of money and ease and comfort and whatever. And what does she say in the book, The Magic? She was in a lot of debt. How you get a lot of debt when you have all that stuff going on? I don't know, but she was. Okay, so the thing is that even though she was doing well, she still was having some level of difficulty, or otherwise she wouldn't have been in financial debt. And so she wrote the book to help us all learn how not only to get out of debt, but to live a life of gratitude. So you see, we all have conditions, no matter how famous we are, no matter how well known we are, we all have conditions. Gandhi had his whole ministry or his whole political life grew out of his being discriminated on a train when he was moving to South Africa. So, the thing is that all kinds of people have difficulties. Think about Martin Luther King Jr. He started because of being asked, a young minister, not knowing anything what he's doing, and they ask him and he says yes. Oh, yes, there's that word. He said yes. So, the thing is that we all have some kind of conditions that we need to escape, or things that we need to set aside, conditions that we deal with in our lives. Nobody escapes it. The thing is that what do you do with the conditions that you have? And no matter how old you are, you have survived the past, and here you are in the present, and you get to decide where you want to go from here. Because no matter where you have been, tomorrow, brand new day. Brand new day. It's sort of like having what? A blank piece of paper. This is tomorrow. Absolutely nothing on it. You get to decide. But when do you decide? Today. You have to decide today. You can't wake up tomorrow and go like, oh, this is going to be my day tomorrow. No, that will be for the blank day, the next day. So this is Monday, and you're in Sunday. So what are you going to do on Monday? Hopefully, you're going to go boldly into that new day. Edwin's last of the fourth of the spiritual laws is finding your divine purpose, right? Most of us don't know that. Most of us haven't even asked the question. I'm willing to bet you that it was not something you grew up thinking about. You probably never even heard of it till the last 15 years or so, okay? So finding your divine purpose, in the book, she gives you 10 questions to ask and to answer. She has 10 questions and she asks you to answer those. I encourage you to look at those questions and go through them thoughtfully, not rushing through them, but take some time. Maybe take 10 days. Take one day, one question a day, and really sit down with yourself and meditate over it and open yourself and ask Spirit to, help me, guide me through making a decision about what this answer is. Help me to get some clarity around it. And then she says at the end, the last one is, will I commit to staying the course, working in integrity, and standing alone in my mission if necessary? And she says that that's what the people like Gandhi and Dr. King and others did. They knew what their divine purpose was, and then they committed to it. Mother Teresa, she committed to it. And all too often what happens is we get this calling and we get this desire. We know what our purpose is. And we go like, I can't do that. That's too much. I don't have the power. I don't have the capability. I don't have the education. I don't have the money. We whisper those things to ourselves. We don't say them out loud. We whisper them to ourselves. And then in whispering, what happens? We can push them behind ourselves and not pay any attention to them. And then we get back into the conditions of our lives, coming back to work here, or taking care of this person there, or doing whatever it is that has been our life on an everyday basis. But if we answer the questions and we don't commit, then our life does not change. And remember, whether we answer the questions or not, we still have a blank page on the next day, because every day is a new blank page. Each of us has some level of pain and suffering that we deal with. And we've overcome it. We've overcome some of it. But we always have a power within ourselves. Marcia, did you get my email? Thank you. Okay. You want to put the first one up there? Okay, so I asked Marcia to put up this principle. I believe that the universal spirit, which is God, operates through a universal mind, which is the law of God. Okay, so the spirit operates through law. Okay? So when you drive down the street, you are under law, because we drive on the right side, and if you go to Britain or one of the British countries, you drive on the left side. Go to Jamaica, okay? You will drive on the other side of the road, okay? Their cars even have steering wheels on the other side of the road. We have a law that goes this way. So you see, you have to follow the law. You follow the law here or there. Now, here's the thing. There is no spiritual law that is for one person and then another. So the spiritual law in Jamaica is the same as the spiritual law in Georgia. The physical law may be different, but the spiritual law is not. It works the same way for each and every one of us. And that's because we have what? Our oneness. We're all in one mind. Okay, so it operates through the universal mind, which is the law of God. Next one. We are surrounded by this creative mind. So think about a fish in a fishbowl, okay? The fish is swimming around and it's totally unconscious. It doesn't know that it's in water. It doesn't know that it needs water, but guess what? If it jumps out of the bowl, it's not going to stay there long, right? Because it needs the water, okay? So it jumps back, it falls back in or jumps back in, whatever. The fish is unconscious of the water, but the water is the essence that it needs in order to live. That creative mind, it's like you are that fish in creative mind, is the water around you. You have the capacity to be conscious of that water that surrounds you, that creative mind. Unlike the fish that does not have that, as far as we know, does not have that consciousness. But you have the ability to be conscious of the creative mind that you are a part of. Okay? You have the ability to be conscious of it, and if you're conscious of it, then you can do what? You can use it. We are all using it. You use it every single day. You cannot breathe without using that creative mind. And so therefore, you are using it, but are you conscious of it? And are you using it consciously? And that's what this is saying. We are surrounded by this creative mind. Next. Which receives the direct impress of our thought and it acts upon it. So think of clay, okay? A sculpture with clay. And we've got this clay and we've just got this ball of clay, right? It's a nice little ball of clay. And then we go like, I want to make a elephant with this clay. So what will happen is we will mold it until we have the shape of an elephant. That clay has experienced the impress of our thought, our idea, and we've made an elephant out of it. You understand what I'm saying? Okay, so here you have this ball of nothing, and it receives the impress of your thought that said, I want to make an elephant, because it comes thought. Okay, and it's like, let me see. I have a feeling that an elephant would be a really nice thing to make out of this clay. So you have the thought and you have a feeling about it, and then you start molding it. You start doing the action and the activity that makes that into an elephant. But it's your creative mind that first gave you the idea, and it has now accepted the impress of your thought and you have created something. Next. Is that the last one? No. I believe that God is personal to all who feel this indwelling presence. And so therefore, each one of us is personally bringing to our conscious awareness what it is we want to impress in that creative mind. So you can take them down now, Marcia. Do you see what I'm saying? Okay. So you you are already, knowing it or unknowingly, impressing the creative mind in creating experiences in your life. If you are enjoying those experiences, or you are happy with those experiences, if you want more of those experiences, keep doing what you're doing. Now, do I have to say the opposite? If you're not happy with it, something needs to change, right? Change your thinking, change your feeling, change your life. Okay? You have to do something different. And that's why we read these books. That's why we did the book in February on the magic. And we talked about gratitude all month. And this month, the last 2 months, we've been talking about the laws of prosperity. Guess what? You can pick up this book and read it. So that's a nice little book. Nice ideas in there. Some good, nice exercises in there. Okay. I'm done. You could do that, right? And what would happen? 2 years from now, we're talking about this book. You're like, oh yeah, I remember that book. I read it. And somebody's going like, I use it, and I mean, my life has just blossomed. And you're going like, really? Well, let me tell you about the other book that I read. You know, it's like we're always a choice. And the impress of our thought is happening. If we use the things that we learn, then things happen in our life. If we just simply go like, oh, I read the book and we're done. Now, there's some novels, you read them and you're done. But this is not a novel. This is an activity book. It has actions in it. It has behaviors. It can help change your life if you need it or want it to be changed. And here's the thing. You don't have to do it all at once. Take one chapter at a time. Start with one. And then after you practice that and whatever, then go to the next. You could take a whole year and do this. We did, 8 weeks, but you could take a whole year. It's not like you have to make all these changes at once. But you do have to learn to say, what did Shonda Rhimes say? Yes. And look at her life. I heard her one time say, it just to me, I'll share it because it was just amazing to me. You know how everybody's got phones now, right? And they work around the clock with those phones because the phones are on 24 hours a day. And sometimes, now they've got these little things, so do not disturb, so you can go to sleep at night, okay? But years ago, they didn't have that. But I guess so many people are not sleeping, and they complain, they started putting these on there. So yeah, the little do not disturb. When do you put your do not disturb on? I'm willing to bet you most of you don't put it on till 10 o'clock, if you put it on at all. You don't put it on till about 10, maybe till 7 or 8 in the morning. Okay? Shonda Rhimes puts hers on at 7 p.m. in the evening with all the stuff that she's doing. And like those movie people, they go like 30 hours a day, right? But she turns hers off at 7 p.m. every night. And I heard an interview with her, and she was saying that, and the interviewer said, how do you do that? Don't you get people? She said, if it is so important, they've told it to me during the daytime. Anything that happens after 7 o'clock can wait till the next day. So her phone is off from 7 a.m. to, I think it was 7 p.m. to 5, 6, 7 o'clock. I don't remember what time she turned it on. But just the idea she turned it off at 7 is amazing to me. So what if she's turning it off at 7? What's happening? She's doing her own personal work. She's doing her own personal work. She's doing the work that allows her to be the creative person that she is. How many of us dedicate time like that every day? I know many of us try to meditate and we just can't. We're just wiggling or whatever. But you don't have to meditate all the time. You can read books and contemplate the answers. That's meditation too, because what is meditation? It is simply going within your own mind and deciding or hearing or listening or paying attention to the higher thoughts. But you have to sometimes get through all the sludge here in order to get to those higher thoughts. So that's why you have to spend time. That's why you have to turn off the phone. That's why you have to pay attention. That's why you have to become conscious. And then what happens when you spend that time during the day, stuff starts coming to you. People start saying things to you. People start doing things to you that you go like, oh, well, where did that come from? So one of the stories that Edwina tells at the end of the story is about, at the end of the book, she tells the story about how she was invited to go to Minneapolis to speak. It was she had several workshops there that she was going to do, and it was in the winter, and she was concerned about it being cold and snowy. Well, she said, well, those people lived up there, they understand about cold and snow, so she'll be fine. She was in a motorhome at the time. So she drove up there. She got there, and what she found was ice. Everything was frozen over, all the pipes and everything. She couldn't be at the place where she wanted to be in terms of the motorhome. So she went searching, and she found a place, and they had a water hookup and electricity, and everything was going well. So she got the space and she got all cozy and warm. And then she decided she wanted to have some fun. Well, as it turned out, where she was an Indian casino. And so they were open. So she went on in and she said, I'm just going to have some fun. And so she went in and she had some fun and she took her bag of quarters and she went to the quarter machine, and she started playing the slot machine. And, she, a few little quarters here or there, but nothing big. And then did she change machines? I think she changed machines. No, she stayed in the same machine. Yeah, she stayed in the same machine. Anyway, at some point, she put in a quarter, or she decided, she would play in 1 quarter at a time. And then she decided, you know what, I'll just play 2. Now, I these are machines that I have not seen, because the ones I've seen, just, you don't have a choice of having 2, but whatever. Anyway, she put 2 quarters in the machine. And next thing she knows is like bells and whistles. If you've ever been to a casino when you won, there's like all this noise, okay? The bells, everything goes off. It's like, woo! She won. And here's the other thing. She was concerned because she had payroll to meet, and without doing a workshop, she was concerned she would not meet payroll. She won $10,000. Because what did she say? The workshops are not my supply. God is my source, not the workshops. And so God found a way. And so she has this statement that she uses. And if you want to, you can write it down. If not, I'll give it to you later. But I want us to say it now, okay? I'll say it. So I'll say it, and then we'll repeat it a couple of times. Excuse me. Large, rich, opulent, lavish financial surprises now come to me, and I am grateful. And that was what she was saying, because that was a surprise that she got at the casino, right? All right, repeat after me. Large, rich, opulent, lavish financial surprises now come to me, and I am grateful. All right, let's say it again. With feeling. Stand up, everybody stand up. We're going to get this into our bodies. Yes, okay. All right, wiggle it out. Okay, ready? We're going to do this a couple times. Ready? You online, you stand up too. You're at home. Don't worry about the camera. Just stand up, okay? Large, rich, opulent, lavish financial surprises now come to me, and I am grateful. One more time. Large, rich, opulent, lavish financial surprises now come to me, and I am grateful. Okay, all right. Now, you don't have to write it down. You can just look at the book, okay? It's in the back, okay? And it's in the last chapter. So Emerson said, oh, man, we would change it to woman, because he's talking years ago. There is no planet, sun, or star that could hold you if you knew who you are. Large, rich, opulent, lavish financial surprises come to you all the time. They're always just like floating by like air. And all we need to do is snatch them. But we don't realize that the creative mind is operating all the time. And that's all that we have to do. Instead, we go like, oh, isn't that interesting? That person got that. They snatched it and you didn't. So snatch it. Open up. God is our source, not the workshops we do, not the businesses we are involved in, not the relationships we're involved in. Those are the conditions that show up in our lives as a result of our using the creative mind and impressing it upon our thought. Okay? All right. Let us turn within. There is one life, one presence, one power, one perfect, whole, and complete isness, one whole, perfect, and complete spirit, one whole, perfect, and complete God. And that God expresses in, through, and as each and every one of us. It doesn't require anything of us at all. It just simply is. It is we who get to make a demand on it. And in our creative thought, our creative ideas, just like Cynthia and Sherry with their creative writing of music, the Spirit moves in them and through them as they make the demand on it to create a song. Each one of us, in a similar way, is creating a life. We are creating a life that is peaceful and loving, a life that is free of disease and discord, for we are creating a life that is less than what we so desire. It is always our choice. The creative mind responds to us as we express in ourselves the desire of our lives. And so right here and right now, we are knowing that this truth is flowing in us and through us unabated, that we choose to have that which is joyful, that which is loving, that which is peaceful in our own lives. And we know that if it's true for us, it can be true for anyone and everyone in our world. So we bless each person that we encounter in our lives, whether we encounter them in person or we encounter them at a distance. We are knowing that this is the truth for each and one of them. We totally and completely can live those lavishly abundant financial lives, because here's the thing: God does not limit anyone. There is plenty abundance for all. It is the conditions that we look at and believe that create the limitations. And so right here and right now, in this very moment, let us all, in our own mind, individually, negate the idea that there is limitation of any sort anywhere in this world. That there is only abundance, there is only lavish fullness and completeness. There is only the opulence of spirit showing up in each and every one of our lives, and therefore we are blessed. We are blessed with the great, wonderful relationships that allow us to experience life in the way in which each one of us know it. And because God's law is harmonious, none of us bump into the other in our desires. We are all harmoniously living together, just as every cell in our body lives harmoniously with the others. And so it is that we are so grateful this day that we know this truth, that we know it, that we believe it, and we are willingly practicing it in a conscious way. And so we rejoice that the possibilities of our lives are unfolding magnificently right here and right now. And we accept them in this very moment. And so with gratitude and thanksgiving for this and so much more, we just simply allow it to be, knowing that this word is impressing our thought right here and right now. It's active in the creative mind, and each one of us are experiencing at the level of our understanding, our awareness, and our willingness to commit to experiencing the fullness and completeness of our lives. And so it is. Amen. Okay. We have a song. We have a song. We have a song. We have a song.
So we did one that Cynthia wrote. Now we're going to do one that I wrote. I had the very great pleasure of Cynthia recording this on one of her albums. And I want to say about this song, because right now, every time you turn on the news, what do you see? Russia, Ukraine, Russia, Ukraine, Russia, Ukraine, blah, blah, blah. But at any given moment on this planet right now, and you can Google it, and I can promise you this is the facts, 35 to 40 armed conflicts are taking place right now on this planet that are not on the news. Most of them are in the Middle East, Sub-Saharan Africa, and South America. That doesn't make the news because it's not big enough, I guess. I don't know. But the tribes in Africa war with each other constantly, and it's horrific. It's really pretty terrible. And years ago, I heard that number, and I couldn't believe it. So I started researching it myself, and it's the truth, and it's still true. If you Google it right now, it'll say 35, 40 conflicts. So I wrote this song during that time that I found that out, and I used to be a minister named Matt Parclair that I used to love to go hear him speak, and he always said, the more love there is, the more love there is. And so I wrote this song, stealing from him, steal from the best. And it's rock and roll, because in my heart, I'm rock and roll. Yeah. There are no borders. There are no lines drawn in the sand. We don't need any soldiers. Life and death are not ours to command. Lay down your weapons, unite. Turn from darkness to light. Our hearts will show us what's right. Fear and hatred replaced with forgiveness and grace for the whole human race. There is no separation. We are created in God's light, but we get lost in illusion. And then we forget we are divine. Love one another, he says, sisters and brothers instead. This is how we should live. Fear and hatred replaced with forgiveness and grace for the whole human race. The more love there is, 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 the more love there is. Yes, and God is all there is, God is all there is. No more tribal mentality, wars and brutality. Love is reality. So open your heart. The more love there is, 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 the more love there is. Yes, and God is all there is. God is all there is. The more love there is, the more love, the more peace, the more hope there is. Yes, and God is all there is. God is all there is. The more love there is, the more peace, the more hope. Open up your heart. Yeah. God is all there is. God is all there is.
God is all there is. More love there is. Woo! Thank you.
Awesome, awesome. Thank you, Sherry. Yes, 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 yes. Mhm.
I don't want to follow that.
So, yes. So, I want to say what you introduced that song with. You're absolutely right about all the wars that are going on. They're still going on. Well, I don't know if you noticed, but they stopped calling this war in Ukraine a world war because the world is not all in harmony on this. A lot of countries are still not contributing and supporting because why? Because we're not all on the same page. And we, in this philosophy, in New Thought, have the ability to stay conscious and aware and not go to sleep on what's happening. Don't allow yourself to go to sleep. And stay awake, stay aware. And every time you see something, look at it and say, there is some love here, somewhere. And guess what? You'll start seeing it. And who's showing up with the love? The children. The children are. Okay? And there are good things happening. If you support St. Jude is helping to, that's a place where you can give if you want to help children who are being injured. And anyway, vote. That's our way of participating too. I don't care who you vote for, just vote. Because what does it do? It expresses it puts your energy into the world in a physical way. Okay? And then we all have climate change problems and all this stuff. Anyway, we have lots of work to do. Find a place to serve and serve. All right, so conscious giving is in your program, and it is up there. Freely I give with a feeling of abundance, knowing that my gift blesses others and myself as well.
I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful for all that I have. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful. I am so blessed.
After church and had an enjoyable week. We are looking forward next Sunday. Oh, sorry. Thanksgiving affirmation. I am grateful for the divine givingness circulating abundantly through my life, our community, and our world. Okay, now I can move on. May 1st is next. May. Almost 5 months. Look, I mean, can you believe this? Somewhere, people have been saying for a long time, things are going fast. They found that really is going faster. We're not imagining it. Okay, all right. So, anyway, next Sunday, we're going to have our community memorial service. So those of you online are invited to participate. We are not going to be live streaming. So if you want to participate, you Marcia hear that? We're not live streaming the memorial service. You have to be on Zoom if you want to participate in the service next week. So, and what we would like is to have pictures of people who we want to memorialize. So it's not that we can't think of them, but it's just nice if we have some pictures. And then, we're preparing a program and we're going to do some music and probably last about an hour, So plan to come next Sunday after service from 12:30 to about 1:30. And anybody here can come too. We can come and have service and then stay for the service, the memorial service, okay? So there is a Marcia submission form for our memorial service. Do you all know how to use that? Okay, so I don't have my phone with me. What you do is you go to your camera and you put that picture up there in your phone. Can you do that? Show it. Can you show it? Come on. And the link is in the newsletter too. So, so what you do is you put your camera and you take a picture of that. You put it in the center. And once it gets there, then it goes automatically to the link or to the registration page. Okay, the internet link. Okay, so it makes it a nice little easy thing to do. And also, Marcia said, you look in the newsletter. If you're online or you're here, you get our newsletter. So look in the newsletter. There's a link there to the service as well. Okay. All right, that is our service for today. And I have something in my throat. So we are going to let them take over.
We're going to do
But
the
first, we're
closing.
going to do the closing affirmation.
Okay.
We go forth today knowing that we are God's blessing in the world. Only good goes from us and only good comes to us. And so it is.
All right. We're going to close with our song. Everybody wants to get together and hold hands. Let there be peace on earth, and let it begin with me. Let there be peace on earth, the peace that was meant to be. With Spirit as our Creator, united all are we. Let us walk with each other in perfect harmony. Let peace begin with me. Let this be the moment now. With every step I take, let this be my solemn vow. To take each moment, live each moment in peace eternally. Let there be peace on earth, and let it begin with me. And so it is.
Potluck today.
Oh, yes.
And
we are
so
ready.
if you are online and you want to have potluck with us, raise your hand, let Marcia know that you want to stay on the Zoom call. Okay? For the rest of us,